Call the meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded. Seeing no one else recording this meeting, if you'd please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Seeing no citizens to comment, no special recognitions, no acceptance of minutes from the last meeting. Do we have a student representative?
It seems we do.
Okay,
Ally?
well, we will move right on to the student representatives report. Allie, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. What do you have for us?
So the week before break, we had our winter carnival, which was just a competition between the 4 classes, which was like some athletic competitions, an art competition, and just like some other lunch games. That was a really enjoyable event for all the students, and it was a good way for everyone to get involved. For sports, Auburn girls hockey has their playoff game tonight, and this is the first playoff game that they've been in 15 years, so that's really exciting. And also some track athletes did really well in states, so they're going to make it all the way to the New England competition, and that's coming up soon. This morning, there was a meeting held for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors regarding course selections for next year. So within the next few weeks, those classes will be selecting the courses that they plan on taking the next year. This Saturday, there's a Model UN conference at BC High, so I know a lot of students are excited about that. And then next Friday, students leave for their ski trip to Jay Peak in Vermont. So that's another exciting event. And new members have been inducted into NHS, and an induction ceremony will be held in person with guests allowed on March 17th. So that's definitely a step up, because last year for my induction ceremony, outside guests weren't allowed. And the year before, I believe, was on Zoom. So it's that some of the restrictions are being lifted for COVID, and we're able to meet together for the ceremony. And that's all I have for tonight.
Well, that's some good stuff. A lot of nice things happening at school. Could you just tell us how it is to have everyone back at school with the masks off and being able to see everyone's faces? A little different feel there?
Yeah, definitely. It was a little bit strange at first, but it's nice. And I think it's a little bit more interactive, like with the teachers and the students, and being able to see like facial expressions instead of just having it being hidden by a mask.
That's great.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far.
Good.
Me too. Any questions or comments for Allie?
Hi, Allie. I have a freshman going on the J Peak trip, so if you older folks want to look out for the younger ones, that would be awesome. Thanks.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure they would do that anyway.
No.
Any other questions or comments for Allie?
Just thank you for your taking the time to give us your report. Thank you.
Of course.
Yep. Much appreciated, Allie. Have a nice evening. We'll see you next time.
You too. Thanks.
Thank
Thank you, Allie. Bye-bye.
All right, we now move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And in keeping with what seemingly was a very upbeat theme from Allie, I'm going to try and stay the same and give you a brief COVID update. As you can see from the emails I've sent out this week, our counts were a little high on Monday, with 7 cases reported on Monday, 1 yesterday, 1 today. So that's a good thing. We're hoping to stay the course with all of that. Gives us the faith that this was a good decision and that kids are staying safe, which is what we want. In kind of anecdotal observations by the principals, seemingly mask wearing, we have about 30% of our kids in most schools and staff still wearing masks, which is, completely acceptable, and everybody seems comfortable. There doesn't seem to be any angst about it, because quite frankly, I think everyone is so happy with the change overall in general. It's given quite a boost to everyone's spirits. Had a lot of good feedback from several teachers about how it just feels so much nicer. Even with some folks still wearing them, there's just a different tone and feel to the day. I think Allie reflected that in her comments as well. And I think in her list of activities that have happened show that, right? We're coming back to the things that we normally knew, and that just feels really good for everyone. So very upbeat times right now. So we're going to hope to stay the course with that. And another teacher did mention that the engagement of students is clearly different. with one another, with the work, and with the teachers. So, all good news. Just to let everyone know, test kits are still coming. They'll be sent home again tomorrow. We still have a lot of folks that are opting into that and are using our reporting system for that, so that's a good thing. But really, it's quite nice to not have a whole lot to say about COVID, so I'm going to
Yes.
stick with that.
Sure is. That's great.
Spoke with a kindergarten teacher who said the kids in the class just all day just smiled.
Yeah.
Just like smiled looking at her face. And it's kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a funny smirk, like,
Yeah,
am I
like-
supposed to be doing this? So no, but it was, and yeah, at least at the high school, you know, the report that we got was like, some people had them, some people didn't, no big deal, nobody said boo, everybody was
Nobody
happy
cared.
doing what they did, so.
Yeah, they got to
Great.
do what they all wanted to do, and I think that is the difference, right? So if you want to, that's great, and if not, that's okay too.
There are actually situations where I'm sure they had never seen one another's faces, because some people are just religious about keeping that mask on, never pulling it down at all. And I know that happened to me with some new coworkers this year. I looked around and said, "Oh wow, that's what you look like." For better,
Smiled at them.
for better or worse. But no, it was very interesting to see people, and you didn't know if they were smiling at you. You didn't know if they were welcoming you, and so yeah, you know, for the ones that you see after school all the time, your friends, people that you're used to being around, that's one thing. But I bet you a lot of times they looked around and said, "Wow, that's that kid from out of town, or that's the student who just moved into town that I'd never met," and vice versa, for the student to be able to see some smiling faces, the newer students or newer staff members. It's just really a great thing. So yeah, all positive right now.
All good.
And spring is coming, so it's only going to get better.
Yep.
Wow, that was a quick one.
That was a quick one. All good
Figured I
news,
had to
let's
do a
stick
little
into
bit of filler there. Okay, we now move on to everyone's favorite part of the evening, business and financial.
He missed you, Cecilia.
It's so nice to know we're in good hands with Cecilia.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Chamberlain and I have traded places. I have the longer one tonight, the longer presentation. So actually, in your packet, the Board of Selectmen voted to open the warrants for town meeting on February 14th with a closing date of March 7th. So I've placed a draft of the school department warrant articles that we want to submit for the annual town meeting for May 3rd, 2022. And I'll just briefly go over them briefly, and if there's any questions after, you can ask. Articles 1 through 4 are the standard articles requesting funds for Medicaid, the Auburn High School gym interest, the trust interest, McKinney-Vento homeless, and foster care transportation. The remaining articles, Mr. Fahey and I met to discuss the CIP and how we could possibly best utilize what we have in CIP in the most productive manner at this time. Articles 5 and 6 speak to the changing the purpose of the funds from Packagug Univent replacement work to the replacing of the boiler at Packagug School, which has recently become a critical need, and that wasn't anticipated in any of the CIP at this point, so we feel like that's a better move for our money with the CIP there. With regard to Articles 7 through 13, you'll remember that a while back we had gotten approval of the CIP funding for the removal of the oil tank at Swanson Road. Mr. Fahey had been hoping to remove and replace the oil tank with natural gas, but since that hasn't been able to be an option, that's kind of out of the question right now. And in keeping with the theme of the green community, we've been looking at converting the school from oil to a propane heating system. The original funds were allocated for the removal of oil tanks, so just to be politically correct, we felt like we should repurpose or change the language in the articles just to reflect that for the removal of the oil tank to replacing it with that propane, so that there would be no questions whatsoever in that. And we're hoping to have that all done by this summer, so that's our game plan for that. Articles 14 and 15 speak to moving money from Auburn High School in the amount of $8,704.92, which is not needed. We finished those CIP projects that were as part of that article, so that money is remaining. So we're looking to repurpose that money along with monies that were in the Bryn Mawr rehab to be used for finishing the final phase of the Bryn Mawr sprinkler and adding on the condensate, I think I'm saying that right, it's Mr. Fahey's word, condensate tank for the steam boiler. You'll recall back originally we had started the sprinkler project when we had the addition of the modular at Bryn Mawr, and the project, when it came in, we bid it out and it came in a lot higher than what we anticipated for pricing. So we were able to break it down into 3 different phases. Phase 1 and 2 are complete, and this will assist in the final, completing the final phase. So I would ask for your approval of the articles so that we can submit them to town meeting for the May 3rd, 2020 town meeting. And if there's any questions on any of them, I'd be happy to answer.
I would entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrant articles for the annual town meeting on May 3rd, 2022 as submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Any questions?
I just have one question. Is Bryn Mawr the last school to get a sprinkler system, or do we still have others that won't have sprinkler systems?
I believe all the schools are sprinklered. It was just when we added the modular,
So,
they told us we needed to add the additional sprinkler system for the building to complete it and make it up to code. And they gave us a period of time to do it. We didn't have to do it immediately because we
Right.
had to come up with the money to do it. And it's been quite costly.
yeah, I
so-
thought it was like 300,000 or something.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. So we've been trying to chip away at it, and we've gotten phase 1 and 2 done, and we're just trying to finish the last phase so we can be done with it and be, up to code and everything.
So then when this is finished, we're done with sprinklers as far
Yes,
as all the
yes,
schools go? Wonderful.
Yes.
Great.
So, okay, so you voted, I'm sorry, okay. So in addition to that,
No, we didn't vote yet.
Oh,
We're just still
okay.
discussion.
all right, sorry. Because I had
Yeah,
something
vote.
to add on to
No,
that.
that's
but-
okay. Any other discussion?
No.
No? Did you have something to add as part of discussion or after the vote?
Well, it's something else that kind of needs your vote of approval, but I can talk about it now if you want. I mean, it's, when Mr. Fahey and I were talking, we felt that we were looking at the FY 2023 CIP, which we had already previously voted on, and I've included that in your packet as well. And we were looking to see if we could we had originally had 80,000 for 2023 for flooring upgrades and window upgrades at Bryn Mawr, and we were hoping to use that 80,000 as a buffer because we just don't want to run out of money. We just want to be able to finish the sprinkler system, get it done, and have enough money to do that, because Mr. Fahey was concerned about not having the monies we needed. So we're just trying to make sure all our ducks are in a row. So I would need your approval to do that, and I would submit both the warrant articles and the 2023 CIP to the town manager for the town meeting.
So do we have a second motion for that, or are you tying that into this motion?
Would you prefer to do it together? Or, I mean, we can have a second motion if you want. I was just looking to change the 2023 CIP for Bryn Mawr flooring and window upgrades to completion of the Bryn Mawr sprinkler project.
Probably should be a second motion.
That should be a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just amend that motion to reflect those changes to the FY 2023 budget. So,
To do it together.
Yeah,
all right. So in addition to Jesse's original motion, we would also like to add to that the changes to the 2023 fiscal budget to do away with the $40,000 flooring upgrade, the $40,000 continue window upgrades, and that's it, just those 2 items, correct? Okay. Do I have a second on that?
Yes, second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there's a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. That was quite a lot to go through. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
We're just trying to get everything organized and better allocated. The next thing is the French River Collaborative Oil Bid. Each year, we participate with French River to procure the oil for the district's buildings with area districts and for the upcoming year. So the French River bid was opened on February 2nd and awarded on February 3rd. There were 3 bidders, with one of the vendors being deemed non-responsive. Peterson Oil was awarded, and that's who we currently have, was awarded the bid at $2.90 a gallon. being the lowest responsible and responsive bidder for fuel oil for FY 2023. I've attached the bid oil analysis for your review. It represents a $1.20 increase per gallon from this past year's pricing, which was we were very lucky with the pricing that we did have. However, in planning ahead, Mr. Fahey and I, when going through the budgets, in formulating FY23, we did take into consideration that we didn't know the price of the oil per gallon. And also with the current market conditions being so volatile, we kind of built in a little bit of cushion there. So we will be fine. We went back and looked at those numbers and we'll be fine for that. So I just wanted to assure you of that.
Good.
So I'm looking for your acceptance of this, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to accept the fuel oil award made by the French River Collaborative on behalf of the Auburn Public Schools to Peterson Oil at the price of $2.90 a gallon for fiscal year 2023.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There's a vote.
Okay. I know it's very high, but in spite of what's going on in the world right now,
Yeah.
it's probably best that we did lock in. 'cause
Lock in
who
now.
knows?
Absolutely.
Right,
So I'm happy
absolutely.
about that. So next on my docket is a year-to-date budget report, which I provided in your packet, dated February 24th for your review. And I've also included with that a listing of budget transfers, with most of them being in the same series for your information. And I believe there's one listing between different series for which I'm seeking your approval.
I would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to approve the list of transfers dated February 24th, 2022, as presented by the business manager.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There's a vote.
Thank you. And for my last item, the 2022-23 bus transportation registration forms, they've been placed on the district website, and the deadline to register is June 1st, 2022. All students wishing to ride the bus in the coming year must register regardless of whether they need to make a payment. Once again, we're going to be using the Zip Slip program for online registration and convenience for families. Payments can be made online with Unipay or can be dropped off and mailed with a completed registration to the Central Office Administration Building, 5 West Street. We will not accept applications at the school departments, and we've said that in the last few years, but I just wanted to reiterate that because every year people say we dropped it off at the school, so it needs to come here. We also have, if people want to fill out their registration forms and drop a check, we have the mailbox in front, so if it's after hours for their convenience, that works too, and we check that every day. So all registrations must be postmarked by June 1st or received in the mail by 4 p.m. or not in the mail, but postmarked by June 1st or received at West Street by 4 p.m. on the 1st to avoid the late fee. Late fees will not be waived, and every child, there's no family cap, so each child will be charged the $100 late fee. And I was just going to say, avoid the rush and send in your registrations now, which I know some of you have already done, so thank you. And that's my report for tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? No? Excellent, as always. I would just add to the end of the meeting, if this is in fact the end, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Chamberlain if need be, but we have a letter in front of us from Julie Jacobson, Town Manager, regarding open meeting law and ethics training. So you've probably already received the email. Now you have the hard copy, so Mandy's really putting the push on us right now to respond to that. So if you could just email back to Mandy. I don't think we need a show of hands or a vote, but she does mean business, so let's shoot her an email and just let her know whether or not we are going to attend that session. And I guess you can do it via Zoom as well. Dr. Chamberlain, did you have anything?
Just to say, I know this is a very brief meeting, but you can see we had several important things that did need to come before you. I apologize for the mix-up with the dates, but that seems to be a lot of organization with the town and the finance and all those committees getting together, so it did need to get pushed off. So I thank you for your patience and for coming this evening.
No worries at all.
Nope.
Any other concerns, anything? All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye, it is a vote. Good night, everyone.